This is Patrick Russell. I'm interviewing Tino Madrid for the first time. This interview is taking place in Columbus, Ohio on June 26th, 2021. This interview is being conducted by the Making History Project. So Tino, tell me, when were you born?
I was born March 10th, 1951.
And where were you born?
I was born in Austin, Texas.
And tell me what it was like growing up in Austin, Texas.
Okay, we moved out of Austin, Texas, and we moved up to Michigan. I was raised up in Michigan. And then my job took me down to Toledo, Ohio, and that's where I've been since.
All right, so where did you say in Michigan?
Blissville, Michigan, a little town called Blissville, Michigan.
All right. And how was it growing up there?
I had a terrible a time going to school because I just didn't. I wasn't a quick learner, for one, and believe it or not, prejudice in a little town, we felt it all the time.
Okay.
So I was very rebellious, and that's what happened for me going in the service real young.
How big was your family?
We had four boys and 4 girls, and my mom and dad decided to take adopt another a child. So actually 9, but dad and mom had a lot of mouths to feed.
That's a big family.
Yeah.
And where were you in the pecking order?
I was right in the middle. I was the 4th one down. So.
Right. And what did your dad do?
My dad, he was a factory worker. We got up to Michigan, being that we were migrants, and that's what brought us up to Michigan, because we worked in the fields and stuff. Mom worked quite a bit, Dad worked quite a bit, just to afford a family, so.
Migrants from where?
From Texas. That's
Okay.
My mom and dad used to come every year following the crops and everything else. And then my dad decided he didn't want to move with the crops. And that's when he got a factory job. And it worked out to the better because we were stable and, getting us through school and everything else. But,
Were your parents born in the United States?
yes, they were.
And so, what did you like to do as a child? Do you have any hobbies or
Yeah,
sports?
I played baseball, football. I couldn't do basketball, but no, we did sports, and we played a lot of ball. As a younger kids and everything else, and that's about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that was a sports or whatever, and stuff like that.
Okay, and when did you join the service?
I joined the service when I was 2 days turning 17. And that was March 12th is when my official starting date, but my birthday was March 10th. So it was 2 days.
And what year was that?
That was 1968.
And you could join the service when you were 17?
Yes, if you had parent signatures and stuff like that, yes, you could join the service. And I was getting in a lot of trouble, like I said, in school, You know, everybody's fancy dressing and everything else, and we couldn't do that stuff. And we really had to work our butts off to for us to clothe ourselves. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I had trouble, which I realized it was my fault. It wasn't all the teachers' fault. You know.
Did you finish school?
No, I didn't. I dropped out at 10th grade, and that's the reason I kind of got in a shoving match with my algebra teacher, and I just decided, walked out of school and decided to just walked out and decided to do, you know, what I wanted to do, find a job or whatever. But one of my biggest thing was going in the service.
Why was that? Why were you attracted to the service?
I had an uncle that jumped with the 505th in Normandy, and Uncle Augustine then was pulled out of the Airborne for the Korean War because they were looking for combat veterans. And he explained to me he was mad because he was trying to raise a family, and $55 way back then was quite a lot of money. And so he went into Korea and he did the Korean War. And then he went in with 173rd into Vietnam. And then I had a cousin that jumped in Normandy with the 508. And for some reason, every time I went to see, you know, went to my aunt's house and everything else, I always seen the picture and I always thought it was tough, you know, you were tough and this and that. But it was put in me. I kind of enjoyed my jump school and everything else.
All right, so you enlisted in the Army, and specifically you wanted to go airborne,
Yes, sir.
and specifically 82nd Airborne.
Not way back then. A lot of guys said that they joined in and they could pick their service. No, they picked you to go wherever. You know, I hear a lot of guys saying, "Well, I volunteered for that," and I'd always go. I never came across a lot of guys, you know, that they would just put whatever they wanted to put. You know what I mean?
So you got put into the 82nd Airborne.
Yes.
And did you end up getting involved in the 508th?
I just happened to luck out. I went to in 1968. Like it says, I was a young 17-year-old guy, and I thought that I was bad because, like it says, I got in a fight with teacher. I mean, not a fight. That was the chivalry match, but they called it a fight. But I really grew up real quick. I had gone through my basic training, my AIT. I went through jump school, and there was after jump school, we had to wait for clearance because we went into what's called the Redeye gun, which is a shoulder surface to air missile, heat-seeking missile. Not very many people know about that. And that's what I did as a secondary MOS. I didn't pick it just right out of jump school. You were going here. And we ended up at El Paso at Fort Bliss. And we went to White Sands, practice and everything else with the Redeye gun. And then when I came, when I got done with that, I came into the 82nd Airborne, and I was with headquarters, 2nd 325, and that's where, you know, where it all started, me being in 82nd and everything else. So I went with the 2nd Division we got orders to go to, we jumped in Korea on an operation named Focus Brutina. And then when we came back, everybody got orders: Vietnam, Germany, Vietnam, Korea and stuff. So I was sent to 2nd Division to Korea. And I was put with Bravo Company, 1st to the 9th, which is the Manchus. And with all our time was right up there by the MDL, by DMZ, and the barrier fence was our duty station. And our GP was right as you were going Panmunjom. We can BC scopes, we could see them, all the time. Always had to keep an eye on them, on the North Koreans. And I contacted. I'm under what they call Agent Orange, and I'm under the Agent Orange care, which being a diabetic, heart, and other problems that related to what got with Agent Orange, and it was hell for me to. When I found out that you had to apply, you're in Korea, you had this, you had that, and everything else. And it was hell trying to prove, and you had to get doctor signatures, civilian doctors' signatures, and you had to put it together and go find a service officer, and then get it on getting going with the process in the VA. And like I said, everybody complains about the VA. I haven't had no problems. It's free medical. It's not like being out here with the doctors. If you need a procedure, they send you to get that procedure. So. And if you have a complaint, you might have to wait. But if you have a complaint, you complain. Everything else, they'll look you over and then they'll send you. And where I live in Toledo, at that time, it was either going up to Ann Arbor or Cleveland, depending on what you had. Yeah. But they paid you mileage, and everything else. So it wasn't all that bad. I just had to work that stuff around my work, So, yeah. And that's what. Right now, I'm considered 100% disabled. You know what I mean? And like I said, I had a port bypass, I had 11 stents, I had a weight problem, and also with that problem, a lot of people don't understand in Korea, they weren't using rubber bullets. I learned real quick that if I could see the enemy can see me. And if I could point a gun at North Koreans, I'm sure they were pointing a gun back at me. And fight. I mean, it wasn't a fight, but we used to get sniped at for a lot of times, and we weren't allowed to shoot back, not unless we were in dire danger. And if not, we had to call to get permission to shoot. And that was, that was scary. I have to wait to have somebody give us the order that we can. So, but that was one of the things. And like I said, the biggest thing that I learned was that if you see the enemy, they're seeing you. And we were being watched all the time. We wouldn't leave booby traps, but we would leave something that we knew that if it was moved around when we came around, somebody else was within that area, and we had quite a bit of that. I explained to my wife that the MDL and the 38th parallel is not straight because they have mountains and it goes up, down, sideways, and everything else. And sometimes north was south of us, and we were north. And it was hard to explain to anybody. During the Vietnam War, the guys that fought in Vietnam or whatever, when I supported my CIB, which I was very proud of, always got told that there was nothing happening in Korea. And that's, I use it, the thing is, they weren't using rubber bullets. Believe me, I know what a bullet sounds like going real close to your head. You know what I mean? But we had a lot of trouble. Us Korean veterans had a lot of trouble, you know. And it's still wartime with Korea, believe it or not. They haven't signed a truce or whatever. So, but you know, a lot of people couldn't understand. Other than doing our patrols, like I says, we were by Panmunjom. Our GP Katie was the last GP going up into Panmunjom. We had to, when they brought dignitaries up, we had to go out a couple of days in advance and clear the roads, making sure there was nothing for the dignitaries coming up. And that was winter and summer. And winter was brutal. We didn't have the best equipment. We were still using the Korean War, you know, all the equipment and ponchos and all that stuff, wool uniforms. That's what we were using. Summertime, we had jungle fatigues, but you know, that was just summer because it was hot or cold. It wasn't, you know, you didn't have spring, summer, or whatever. So, and we had monsoons. A lot of people don't believe, you know, we had monsoons, we had weather, wet weather, we had hot weather, which was very hot in the Caribbean. Dusty as hell, always dusty. And if you're going up with on a deuce and a half or whatever, you would get covered up with dust and stuff like that. But like I said, we did our time up in DMZ, you know, MDL, and the 7th Division that was down south, Camp Casey and stuff. They had all the best equipment. When we used to go down there and shoot and, you know, qualify, and they had the best equipment only because it was a showboat. They would come, you know, they would be all dressed up and even though their ruts and everything else was almost like brand new, we had a lot of tattered stuff and stuff like that. But the thing is, like I said, we had a scary time. Being a young man, as you know, was 18 years old. You grew up very quick. It doesn't matter where, you know, what you do or what people say or whatever. You do grow up very quick because you know that day might be your last day. I explained to the wife that going to Airborne, I was naturally scared. You know, jumping out of an airplane. But my biggest fear was that I wouldn't make the Airborne. And that way I couldn't come with my head on it, you know what I mean? But I did we did everything. Got our jump wings and everything else, but that was one of my proudest moments, you know, of being in the service at that time. So, and the reason being is it's just you ain't got nobody else, And if you don't learn what you had to learn, your first mistake was your last mistake, you know. So, but like I said, I got through my airborne. I felt proud. I enjoyed, believe it or not, some of the training at Fort Bragg when I got to Fort Bragg. You know, it's kept you busy, and you learn a lot of stuff that that I never knew before when I was growing up. So, but like I said, I also got my I got my EIB, which is Expert Infantry Badge, and that's without the brief, with the Combat Infantry Badge, and that also made me feel proud too, because navigation, map reading, jumping in there, and survival and everything else, and we had to do a lot of stuff to get EIB. And then when we went to Korea, we had our CIB, so that put the reef on that EIB. So that was a proud moment too. So